So today we're going to be talking about knowledge base, labels admin, and the audit trail. And also I'm going to be showing you some of the new features. You'll be aware that some of the screens you'll be looking at are quite old, and I was going to show you some of the new features and how the various different admin screens will be looking in the future. So it's day 3 of super users. We just move on. Obviously, the super user is responsible for managing the whole system on behalf of the board of the company. It's obviously a very trusted and senior person, and we're looking at the responsibilities of the super user to manage the knowledge and the information that is available, the vocabulary and the workflow of the system. And today we're looking specifically at knowledge base, which is where you can put documents and links that are of use either on the staff portal as part of training, part of your safety procedures and so on. We're looking at labels admin, which is a nice simple thing in one sense. It is where you change the vocabulary on your screens. But in another sense, people often get confused between labels admin and very similar changes that you might make in, for example, lookups, which of course apply to data, and in drop-down menus, which are choices in the menus. And we'll be just taking a look at those. Then there's Audit Trail. Whatever changes people make on the system, there is a facility within the product, which historically was done because of a fraud, but now I would say it's mostly used for by us anyway for diagnostics and training. And I wanted to just show you some of the new screens. So knowledge base, let's kick off with that first of all. So the idea is to be able to put information that might be required in terms of, for example, procedures, policies, safety, and maps. You know, what do you do when you go to Wembley? It's a huge place. It's just one easy place to manage all of your information sources, regardless of whether they are where you go to for your marketing brochures. If you want to be able to select some information to give to a customer, it's where you would go to do your an e-learning course and to pick up documents about a specific subject before doing a test. And of course, when you administrate this, you need to be able to say, in terms of privacy, who's allowed to see it. It's searchable, maybe have some keywords, and the other metadata that you'd add is probably the author, the expiry, various other bits and pieces of information to do with that document. And obviously you need to find the link so that you can put it in an email and the staff portal and various other places so that it's relevant, seeable to the right person. So without further ado, before going on to the next subject, I will just flip over and get a knowledge base out. The knowledge base looks like this, and it is to be found just down here, typically just there. Now it may be in other places in other systems, but mostly it's this filey knowledge basey type icon thing. When you first click it, it looks like that, and there's a search. So I could search for, I don't know, there might be something on COVID in here. Don't know. No, there isn't. But in the admin system, we can see what different areas of the knowledge base there are. Now this one only has one tab, and I've noticed in this demo system there's not very much in there. It looks like within the tab there's manuals and there's a test document, not very interesting. And then within the manuals area there's only one manual. So I thought the best idea might be if I didn't use the demo system for this, but actually used our system. So if I bring our system up, you can see that we've got truckloads of tabs with truckloads of stuff in it. So if we look at technical notes, for example, let's just pick an example, allowing users to see files attached to mails. So this would be a technical HT access on Linux servers. This is a problem which comes up a lot for us. I'm sure it doesn't for you, but the idea is that somebody who is interested in that would be able to find it in our knowledge base. In order for the document to be put on the knowledge base, somebody will have uploaded it from their machine. They'll have clicked upload file, they'll have put it in here, and they would have put in a few keywords. They haven't been very hard working at doing that, but you can see they can see it. And if I test that URL, it goes off and looks like it finds it's not there. Wouldn't be the first time we've moved one away somewhere, but there we go. And that's the point of the test button, obviously. So the idea is that you can put all those documents on there and you can find them when you want them, except obviously because it's a demo, that one. It looks like, let's not go to customer specific. Let's look at cybersecurity, for example. Actually, I'm blocked from that, so bad idea. Policies and procedures, support operations policies and procedures. Actually, that may be slightly out of date. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, so business continuity and disaster recovery. It looks like that document, hopefully that's 1.3 in there. No, 1.2, the latest is 1.3. So that's another thing, you can have an expiry date on it and you can add the next version, which is 1.3. So to show you how that works, I'm actually going to upload 1.3 if I can find it easily. Let me just check I can. And if I go and, I don't think we need to look at the vagaries of my cloud documents here. But if I go into, I'm pretty sure that's the place. Security. No, it's not in there. Okay, well, I'll upload it at another time. But basically, you would say upload this file or URL. Choose a file, which I'll probably do off here somewhere. If I can find it quickly, I will. Might be in there. No, it's not in there, so it might be in there. Oops. No, it's not immediately appearing. So I'll dig it out another time. Yeah. But I know that there is a later version than 1.2 there, which I need to replace it with. So the idea is that I would also say whether that's private. Now this one happens to be private, whereas I think that our data protection policy, although it's an internal document, would not be private. So that one there, you can see I've uploaded that file and it's gone on. And this helps me to actually create the link as well. So I've got a link here, which would be a protected link that would go onto a staff portal. But I can also make a link here by just saying the name of the actual URL and knowledge, and then that there. And so a lot of the files that you'll see might be a link like that. I can also just put in any link. So that particular document, this document here, and I'm just going to replace it now. I happen to know that that document is in our commercial terms. So if I just go and get our commercial terms out, commercial links, there we go. Let's go and pull that over here. There we go, Control C. Rather than upload it from my machine, I can just do this, Control V, and that is version 1.3. And then that's the latest, so I can just save that, submit it. There we go. So now I know that will work. So that's how you put stuff on the knowledge base. You'll probably be aware that the knowledge base is also available to those people who log into the staff portal where you've made the knowledge public. And I think I demonstrated that on numerous occasions during the other videos, so I'm not going to go back to it now because it's 12 minutes past and I need to get on to a couple of other subjects. So the knowledge base is one place where you can put knowledge, and just to summarize, it could be anything from e-learning to your policies and procedures. It could be a health and safety procedure, like what you do if you turn up late at night as a lone worker at a retail warehouse or wherever it is you're working. So the next thing is labels admin. So the idea would be, when you use labels admin, that you want to change the labels on the screens that you're looking at to suit your company. So let's jump back into a demo and then get back to that checklist. On here, this says a new tactical, but it could say a new campaign. So in labels admin, over here, I would pick, for example, the main screen of the machine and WF3.5 nav. And what I can do is I can find everywhere where it says, for example, dashboard, I could call that the front page. This is not a good example. Let's go for W3.5 new I. There we go, load. So somewhere in here, call center. Yeah, a lot of people call the call center a task center, for example. And I'll show you how that changes in a moment. Then there's deals. Some people call that forecast items. Jobs could be anything. It could be a ticket. It could be a case if you're a lawyer. It could be a ticket. Address, organization. Some people call that a company, for example. Client. Results. Let's have a look down here. What was the one that we were looking at? Control F. Tactical. May not be on this screen. No, tactical's not on this screen. Nevertheless, I can show you how these. So, events would be a good idea. So, campaigns. And somewhere around there'll be event as well. So somewhere around there'll be event. Can you see it? Control F. Events somewhere around. Company. So now, if I save all of those changes, let's go and have a look for them. Let's set that aside over here. If I now look at, remember we had organizations in here beforehand. Where am I on, by the way? Yes, I am in the Save as New demo. Right, so in here we have, for example, tasks, and so I'm going to call that the task center when it comes up. If I now go to, where was I? If I now look at a company and we pick Accelerate Demo, you can see it says Company Events. So now if I refresh this baby and go back into companies, then Company Accelerate, that now says Client Campaigns. So that's how you can change on any screen that you want to the labels. Events are a special case. So if you were to go to campaign management here, as you will be aware, you've got within campaign management, you've got a thing called event admin. So you can create template events. So this is a customer service type event. And if we go and we have a look at it and edit defaults for any customer service type event, you can change all of these. So this could be out of hours info, and it might say, for example, you can make it visible, and it might say please call 07 in the event that you cannot access the building. So you'd have your own policies and procedures. You might also say, please call the office anyway to let us know you've arrived safely, and so on. Cannot enter the building. So in events, you can create events with any template. And what you actually call an event, if you call it a campaign or a contract or a venue or whatever, you can decide on all of that. I'm just going to hit save and accept all of those. So now any new event that we create that is of a type customer service will have that in it already. So you may call, if you're doing event stewarding, you might have events, and within those events you might have shifts, or you might have positions or stations. If you're running marketing campaigns, you might have activation days, you might have calls, you might have reports for every retail store you went to, and so on. So you can basically change the vocabulary of anything you want to on any screen. The other areas where you would and as I mentioned, people do get confused with which tool to use to be able to change vocabulary. The other areas where you might want to change vocabulary are obviously drop-down lists. So your job application statuses might be applied, pending, interviewed, something else, registered, sacked. Somebody else might be registered, pending group, interview group, rejected group, something else, and would re-employ and wouldn't re-employ. So you can put your own job application statuses in the job application status drop-down bin. Likewise, for every shift, every type of person, every grade of person, you've got lots and lots of different drop-downs admins that you can add those to. And I think we looked at expenses admin and lots of others before. In lookups, I should have added a bracket at the end of there. In lookups, you're basically adding a new parameter that you might not have thought before to a data field. So it could be to data about a contact, i.e. a person. It could be data about an asset, for example, the height of your Harris fencing or whatever. It could be data about a site, like how big the gates are to be able to get into this warehouse, and it could be obviously about an organization, like targeted for, or how big they are, or whether they're a consumer goods company or a food company or a drinks brand or something. So that's the difference between screen labels and the vocabulary that you can put into drop-downs admin, which again is extensive, and the lookups which you can add. Don't forget, if you're doing an import or creating an application form, you have to have the lookups that you'll need for that import ready to be able to import data into. So you often start doing your import and think, oh my goodness, we haven't put hair color in here, and you just go off and you create a hair color lookup, and then you're back to go. Likewise, if you're doing an application form, you might have to, because they're importing data about, I don't know, some new type of visa, or whether they've got an HGV license, or whether they can speak Mandarin, you might have to go off and create that lookup beforehand, and that's where that vocabulary comes from. So I just wanted also to show you, before I show you the audit trail, I just wanted to go and show you a little bit about how, if I just nip in here, I just wanted to show you what the new system will look like. We've been working for several years now on really improving our look and feel. And there's no slides for this. It's kind of top secret squirrel stuff that I just wanted to show you. So in the new system, as a super user, there are loads more tools. So for example, when you're creating menus, you'll be going to a menu builder, and in the menu builder, you'll be basically linking things that are in menus to different parts of the application, which will really help you to change your workflow around. You can also create themes. So right now, when you buy Accelerate with stick your logo on, it's always got a white background. But in themes, if I just find an example here of one, broker portal, green theme, not sure about that. Purple theme, let's go and have a look at a purple theme. So if I look at the style sheets for that and edit it, where are my theme colors? That's what I want, edit that. You can see that these are the star sheet colors for this application. And obviously different people will have different color applications. So I think there was just one lurking around a moment ago, if I can find it. Where did I put it? Is it there? Yeah. So this particular one here, you can see this is a job tracking one, and this particular stadium company, they are a team that plays in blue and red. So you can create your own themes. You can build your own pages. These grids are a bit like reports. You can build your own training material for your staff. So you can create tours, and you can say, over here, we want this little bit of information, and you create a grid tour, and you say on, I don't know, this screen here, for example, where are we? I can bring this out. Unfortunately, my Zoom thingy is just out in the way. Yeah. So on, for example, this one here, you could have little pointers where you run the tour, and it says if you type something in here, this happens. If you want to close this job, you need to click on that to close it, and so on and so forth. So, and then in other tools, remember we were talking about labels admin and stuff. So in labels admin, I could search for a label, and let's say staff here, and it'll go off and it'll look for all of the places where, actually that's a bad example because I'm not sure how many labels we have on grids, but if I was to say, I don't know, oh there we are, there's the staff ones. So I've put in CL. So if I say conclusions, operator cleared out. So what I can do is I can pick the ones that I want to change now. So inclusions, click include. I'm trying to look for one that would be a good one to use. Let's have a look at instead, if I go and search for shift. There we go. So if I call shifts activation days or calls, for example, I can say they're all going to be called calls. So where it's plural, it'll become called calls, and where it's singular, it'll become called call. And I could just hit update labels, and it would go and update all the labels in the system. I'm not going to do that, obviously. There's also security. I just wanted to have a look, show you security admin. You'll be familiar with employee admin. With security admin, if I take Kaylee, for example, I can say Kaylee can look at asset bookings, but she can't look at this and she can't look at that. And I can say in the actual database tables, for example, she can add new organizations and she can view organization records, but she can't delete them, let's say. So you can see you can get down into quite a good low level of giving people permissions to be able to prevent, I guess screw ups is the best word. Drop downs admin, it has a new similar nice new look and feel, and also assigning portal pages to people will be different as well. So obviously you can assign portal pages to clients and you can assign portal pages to different groups of staff. So I just wanted to sort of raise the kimono on that a little bit. Lastly, I wanted to just cover the idea of the audit trail. We've got 5 minutes for this, and I think that's a good level of time because really where you're going to learn about the audit trail is going and having a look on your own system. So the audit trail was actually created. We actually created the feature because we had a salesperson leave us maybe 93, 94. And this girl, to be able to hide her customers and take them to the competition, she took all the telephone numbers and changed the 2s to 3s and the 4s to 6s and goodness knows what else. So the next salesperson that sat in her seat had no telephone numbers to work on. Nice trick. So we thought after that we'll put an audit trail in so we can see. And in the last probably 20-30 years, I would say 1% of the reason that the audit trail is used is any sort of financial or skullduggery like that. It's a very, very rare thing indeed. 80% is for diagnosis and training. You know, why is this guy not bookable today and yet he was yesterday, or something like that. And it's an extremely good tool for that. And then I would say there's a growing amount. The joke is there's lies and damn lies and statistics. 19% is not a bad guess. 19-20% is for MIS and statistics. People want to know things like how long does it take somebody to move from when they apply to when they're hired. They want to know things like how many people haven't been hired for it, haven't been booked for a month. When was the last time this guy was booked? So there's all sorts of things in the audit trail that are really, really useful to know and aren't in the snapshot that you're looking at in your screens now. So as systems administrators, you can get a hold of those, but also users have ready access to them because they're very, very useful for users. And I'm going to show you two areas where they are. You'll be familiar where the audit trail is in reports and that you can report on lots of bits of the audit trail. But shifts and payroll is the first one, and then people and booking history. So I'll just jump in and show you those. So if we go back to the main page here, always an interesting challenge to get back there. So if I just go and refresh. Right. So if we take any one of these shifts here and we look at the payroll, you can see the audit. You may also find audit buttons elsewhere, but payroll is one of the most useful ones. So at the bottom of the payroll screen, you've got an audit trail here, and it shows you that Henrik Barbosa was booked at that date by administrator. Now, if I was to change that and say I'm now going to save this, and I'm actually going to change it to 11 there and save again, and then I'm going to submit his pay. Is he in the past? Yes, 27th. Why not? I'm going to submit his pay. He could conceivably have finished that shift now, shouldn't he? So now his pay's all submitted. It's 18 quid. If I go back to the audit report, can you see how all of that audit report is there? So very, very useful information. Once in a blue moon, it saves your skin. Most of the time, it's a little grayed out thing down there. Now, if we look at this character, Henry Barbosa, and we actually look at the guy himself, let's go look at his details. We can see where he's been booked and when. So in his bookings right here, look, there's another audit trail, booking audit report, and you can see who has booked him and all of the people that have booked him. And if you look at a real live one, you'll find that there are bookings by 3 or 4 people. So it'll say Sally booked him on this, Jim booked him on that, somebody else rejected him, somebody else put him on the provisional list, and then he applied for 5 more shifts. So you can see the changes that the staff member has made themselves to show interest in shifts, or your organization may allow people to book on themselves, but you can see the dates and the times, and you can see the actual shift that they're supposed to be working on. So this here is a 30th of the 12th, 9 o'clock shift, and he was booked on 23rd of the 12th, 2020 at 14:01 by administrator. And you can see that B is booking, R is reject, P is provisional, all of the things that you would expect. So Audit Trail, a really, really useful tool. So we've done the knowledge base. Again, do just put some documents up there and see if you can find them, see if you can see them on the staff portal. We've done labels admin. If there's any labels you want to change and you can't find them, because they are quite difficult to find at the moment, which is why we've got that new labels admin feature coming along, where you just search for labels, which is fantastic. Then just give us a shout. You know where support is. We've done Audit Trail, and I've shown you some of the new features. I was just going to just conclude by just going through one more time what is a super user and why it's so important, because we've done 3 days on super user functions. It's because it's absolutely critical to the business. It's critical to the business that the super user does things like, when somebody joins the company, you know what job role they're going to go into, and hence you can say what authorities they should be granted, what rights they should be granted. Likewise, when somebody leaves, someone has to have authority to take them off the system. There are, I would say, not a small number of companies where we report to the directors that they have people who left 2 years ago and they're still got a live log into the system because nobody switched them off. Somebody in your organization has to take responsibility for that, and that person is you, the super user. That person should be looking after GDPR. They should be reporting any fraud to the board in the unlikely event that it happens, and so on. But I think one of the most important things is the very creative and enjoyable job of improving the knowledge of your colleagues, improving the business workflow. And because there are so many options that you can do without calling support and without any programming from us, for free, you can change vocabulary, you can change drop downs, and you can really improve business processes. And of course, one of the main ones being to have new documents, change system templates, and so on. You know, what happens when somebody has applied for a job? What message do they get? Changing the application form is something that happens quite commonly. Somebody will have. We have different challenges, all of us, with hiring staff from time to time, so you need to change your application forms. And of course, being able to build reports for colleagues who are less numerate than yourselves. So it's a very, very important job. And again, technical knowledge is a bonus, but it really isn't a priority. It's more understanding the business. So evolving the system, making sure that the system is secure, understanding who should have what rights of access, and of course, supplier management, kicking us understanding what new things are coming down the road, influencing what new things are coming down the road. You know, if you want blue spots on it, believe me, we are desperate for your business. We are enthusiastic about our products, but we're very enthusiastic about customer feedback because it puts the lunch on our table. And of course, another really important thing is if you have any work that we've completed, to test it and make sure that it's your satisfaction. So supplier management, really important. So we've got 2 more days now. Tomorrow, for those of you who are interested, I'm going to be doing expenses admin and just running through that. Nice short introduction to it. There are some people that are using expenses admin, and we can do part of it to show how it works in general on the demo system, as I started before. But I think it's also very important that if you have, and most people who use expenses admin have various different options set up on their system. So if you have any specific questions about signing off expenses in your company, setting up new expenses categories or nominal codes or VAT codes in your company, in your country, in your jurisdiction, in Paris, in Berlin or whatever, do just give us a shout so that we can make sure that we can get yours fixed in support and working to your satisfaction. And then on Wednesday, we're going to be looking at mass change, site replication, date replication. We've done some of the people on the call will have done 2 or 3 of these. We've done 2 or 3 of these in support just recently, where you can take a week and you can replicate it 5 or 6 times, or you can take a month and replicate it 12 times for the year, or you can take an event from last year, copy it into this year on a similar date. So really important time-saving functions in the system. That's it for today. Thank you very much indeed for your time.